All right, friends, today coming to you from a nice and windy, cold eastern North Carolina, and we're going to do a bow review on the Elite Ethos. So this bow is a 33 inches axle to axle bow. It's rated from 40 to 75 pounds. You get a 6.5 inch brace height. I think it goes from 25.5 to 31 inches of draw length adjustment, and that's in quarter inch draw length adjustments via the rotating mods that are on here. And as you can tell by that distinct gray, this is the smooth mods on this Ethos. I've already tested the speed mods on Omnia last year, and it's the same cam system. Some of the features: mass weight 4.5 pounds, and it, without the epsilon and the spot hog on it, it felt about 4.5 pounds, which is a pretty standard weight for a 33 inch plus bow. Just like the Omnia, minus the little gear and the let off adjustment, again, 65 to 90% let off. So let's go over some of the features, and we'll start off with one of the things the Elite's been known for the last few years, which is this set technology. Allows you to move your limbs to the left or to the right, eliminating paper tears from the limbs without having to change your rest. The next thing are these SP cams. They're rated up to 340 feet per second, and they also allow you to change your let off from 65 to 90%. And another neat thing that Elite does, you can just use it like this, and it's a cable stop, or you can put the limb stop module in one of those holes and really tinker with your setup a little bit more. And it's one of the things I really like about Elite is they allow you to tinker with your setup. So moving down the bow, we go to the LTR. That's your cable guard adjustment. Allows you a lateral adjustment of your cables to get them out of the way of your vanes and fletchings. Standard string stop. You have your rear bushing. You also have lower mount holes for stabilizers and two-piece quivers. The RVT, I think is what they call it. Maybe wrong, but that's for a little bit more vibration dampening. And then you have your front stabilizer hole, which is pretty standard. Then you go to your sight mounts. You have two sets of sight mounts, which are pretty nice, and then two burger holes, which allow you to either use two bolts to level out to really solidify, level out your rest, or you can just use one, move your rest back a little bit, not necessarily with this epsilon, but with other type rest, you can move it back and make it a little bit easier to torque tune if you want to torque tune from the rest rather than the sight. So that's enough about the bow. This new Midnight Copper is an amazing color. Looks even better in person. So let's get this thing shooting and see what we think about that. The Elite engineer said that they designed this to give you the same ergonomics as the Energy 35 with the performance of Omnia. So let's put this thing to the test. Let's check the draw on this Ethos. So that draw, when you started off a little stiff at the beginning, maybe a little stiffer than the Sequel 33, not much, but it's just nice and easy. And this back wall is super solid, even though it's just the cable stops. There's no, I could do the limb stop option and get it even more stable, or more solid, but it is nice, and it's just stable, just sitting there. Even though I've been holding it for about a minute, I'm gonna let it down, nice and easy. So that's typical grip from Elite, and I'm gonna make the same complaint about them that I made about the Dartons, that I've made about other companies, especially the ones that shoot off the riser. Yeah, I think the paint's cool, but could you texture the back of the grip? Just like a little cross cut or checkerboard like a gun manufacturer does on a stock. Can we get a little bit of that? Because that's, I'm cold, my hands are dry, super dry, and they're just sliding on this bow. But let's do a little shooting. Nothing. I mean, it just absolutely nothing when you turn that string loose. Wow. Holds on target really well. Even though this is a touch long for me, I set it at 28 inches because that's what I wanted. I wanted to try it out at 28. I'd probably be better served with 27.5 on this, maybe 27 3/4. But we'll go ahead and shoot one more. That is, man, this thing is shooting really well. All right, let's go check that group. All right. Look at those three. So those three are the Black Eagle Rampage or X Impacts, and that's that one Ultra that I shot. But that's a pretty solid group. Let's go do it again. All right, so let's do this second group, and we'll call it a day. I think with this grip, I would definitely have to put some kind of wrap on it, but man, that draw is baby smooth. Nice little group down there. These elites seem to shoot with a little bit deeper grip. Like my Hoyt doesn't seem to need as deep of grip. My previous Matthews didn't seem to shoot so well with these elites. They really seem to want you to have them deep in your hand. And that seems to be kind of that happy spot. And I know I'm doing a little bit of a high pull, but I'm trying to get my release over my jacket. All right, let's go check out that group. I know I dropped that last one down. A solid little group. Put a peep in that thing, it get nasty. Nasty in a hurry. Good bow. All right, so the Elite Ethos review has concluded. You saw that we shot two pretty solid groups with this thing. I think the engineers, what they said they wanted to do was get the ergonomics out of the Energy 35 and put it into a shorter platform, 33-inch bow. I tell you what, I think they did a really good job. It's a very, when you talk about the draw starts off, it's got just a little bit of a hump at the beginning, and then it just smooth all the way back into a really solid back wall. The hold, if you haven't ever shot an Elite before, they really seem to favor being held deep in your hand, as opposed, to maybe like my Hoyt doesn't really need that much of attention to the grip, but that really need to. I really would focus on setting that Elite deep in my hand, and it really seems to give it a solid hold. Easy to aim on target. You saw how repeatable the grip was. Two solid groups out of this thing with no peep at 21 yards. So it was a very repeatable grip, very repeatable action all around shooting this bow. I really like it. It's solid. Once you release it, it's just like the Omnia. Maybe has a little less jump than the Omnia, which doesn't have hardly any at all to say this bow doesn't jump. You don't feel hardly any vibration, and maybe it's because I have, an Epsilon on here that I don't normally shoot on a naked bow, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a dead in-hand shooter. So you talk about technology and features. SEC technology is pretty handy once you get your rest set. My Omni is set at 13/16, and then I just made my adjustments from the set technology, moving the bottom and top limbs until I got rid of a paper tear. And I want to say I had my Omni tuned in 5 shots and grouping broadheads with fill points. So I really like that technology. You get a lot of fine tuning with their cams, which is something I like. You can really tune it down to, I think it's a quarter inch of an adjustment on your draw length, which is real handy. I really like that. Having the multiple holes for your sight, it keeps you from having to set your sight at a as far as at the bottom of the windage adjustments. Sometimes I find that to be, the amount of customization you can get, to set a bow to your personal preference with the Elites is, them in Bowtech, they do a really good job of making a bow that you can really set to you as an individual shooter. So I'm going to go ahead and, say what a fantastic bow this Ethos is. And I want to do the rankings for 3 bows and the 33-inch axle to axle. So the RX-8 Ultra, the Lift 33, the Sequel 33 by Darton, and then this Ethos, which is a 33-inch axle to axle bow. And I'll tell you, the Ultra for me was the cat's meow in this group. The Ethos to me comes in very close second. I don't think it balanced out quite as well, and it's probably a grip issue. I could probably get some wrap on this and shoot it just the same as I did the Ultra, just as dead, maybe a little bit stiffer on the draw. The Sequel, you feel a little bit more on the back end, Like I said, you could cure that with a a nice little stabilizer with minimal weights, and it would cure that problem. And then for me, the last place bow in those 4 bows would be the lift 33, and it's just the draw cycle on that lift I didn't care for, even though the 33 is a lot better than the 29 and a half. I just think you can get these Ethos and the Sequel 33 cheaper than you can get, a lot cheaper than you can get the Ultra, and a little bit cheaper than what you'd get the Lift 33. But you get some very well performing bows. And the other drawback to the Sequel 33 and the Ethos, they're much heavier than those other 2 bows. So that's in the eye of the beholder and what you think of mass weight on a bow. A lot of people prefer more mass weight. I did like the Lift 33. I liked the way it balanced out. It did hold on target, and it was very accurate bow, which is it that matters. But as always, if you're interested in one of these Elite Ethos or any of the other bows mentioned in my review or any of my reviews, go see Ryan and Cody down at Eastern Outfitters, because that's where I get these bows. And they set these bows up for me. We talk about these bows. We shoot them together. They take the time to answer any questions I have, and anybody that comes in there gets the same treatment as what I do. Even though I see them multiple times during the week, they're going to take the time to help you out, get you set up, and get you shooting straight before you leave the store. Great guys, great ambassadors to our sport, trying to make sure that the people of Eastern North Carolina get the best possible equipment, best bang for their buck as possible. So support our channel, like, subscribe, comment, but also go see those guys at Eastern Outfitters. You'll see why I choose to associate and do business with them, because they're great guys. They do a lot for the sport all around. But as always, thanks for watching. God bless. Keep shooting straight.